So
remember, he's talking about modifications. Modifications is not plugging a plug. That's not a modification.
That's it. Yes, it is.
Tune during my boomer generation didn't exist. What you call a tune, you did it all with your hands, and you enjoyed it. You made it happen, and when the car was well and done, you felt satisfaction because you did something on the car. You yourself, a hot rodder or a sports car driver, or whatever. You guys plug in, boom, it's done. Tune what?
Welcome to the Supercar Connection podcast. Find us on social media at Supercar Connection and full episodes weekly on YouTube, Spotify, and Apple Podcast. I'm Gavin, this is my boy Joe, and we're here to talk about cars. Welcome back this week. If you're watching, we're in a different setting.
Yep, we're at my place of business. We're doing a little bit of a switch of scenery solely because we have a very special guest.
Who's our special guest?
El Viejo, my grandfather. Say hello to people.
I'm the old man.
Yep.
The old man.
We thought we'd bring him on to kind of tie in more to the basis of Gavin and I, give you guys more of a background of like why we are the way we are. But let's dive right into it.
Especially why Joe is the way he is.
Yep.
I feel like this is gonna like string a lot of things together. Everything about Joe is gonna make more sense
It's gonna be very, very
when you see
clear
these two start getting after it.
Very clear.
It's
Yes.
gonna be fun.
It's going to enlighten some people.
The gloves might come off.
That's
why
they're
I'm
for sure going to come off in a minute.
I'm here I'm in the middle moderating the conversation.
I feel like you can think like, what are those like the presidential debates where it was like Trump versus fucking, I forgot who it was. And like, that's the vibe it's going to get right now.
Yeah,
we're going to get real argumentative
I'm
right
in the
now.
middle here. Anyway, so let's just start with you telling us, because you're a car guy.
Yes, I am.
Through and through.
All my life.
What made you a car guy? How'd you become a car guy?
Wow, that's a long story.
Here we go.
Ever since I can remember, okay, I might have been 6 years old when I first got notion of what the world was. My father was a car guy, and he had a garage where they parked cars. And they didn't necessarily fix them there, but he had a parking lot.
Where was
and there
this
was
at?
a lot of,
Where was this at?
This was in Cuba. We're talking about 1965. I was 5-6 years old.
1965.
66, okay?
Damn. Oh my God.
So I was very familiar with cars, okay? My brother-in-law used to bet on me because I was 5-6 years old and I knew all the makes of car. Chrysler, Dodge, Chevy, Ford, Pontiac, whatever. And he used to drag me out to the big street where we lived in my neighborhood. And it was a huge street, or at least it looked huge to me, big. And there was a bridge.
Yeah.
Right around the corner, there was a big curve that came into the bridge. And he used to take me out and bet with his friends, quarters or 50 cents or 25 cents, 20 cents. And they used to bet on me being able to tell a quarter mile away what car turned the curve, just by looking at the headlamps and looking at the front of the car.
Yeah.
And his friends used to say, come on, he's only 6 years old, 5 years, he's not going to know that. But they didn't know that I knew every single car around because my father was a car guy.
So that's how you learned. You learned from your father?
From my father. My father was a big car guy. My father was not a race car driver, but a driver.
Yeah.
I'll tell you about it a little bit if I can get into it. It all goes back to 1909, if you want. That's when my father was born.
Take us back, baby. Take us back.
Take you back
Take
all the
us
way
back.
back?
Take us back.
1909, Cuba.
Take us back.
It's your history.
I know. I might as well. I want to hear it too.
Cuba, 1909. You got to remember, not everybody had refrigerators or freezers. People have freezers, and they used to buy ice, dry ice. And they used to put them in the freezer and freeze all the stuff and get the food out whenever they needed to get it. But there was no refrigerator, no electricity refrigerator. You needed ice. My father, in the 20s, he must have been 15 years old, 14 years old. He had 5 sisters. His father died, and he had to provide along with the whole family. So he kind of found a way to make things work, and he went to work for a place called the American Ice Company. Americans were big during those days in Cuba. Remember, 1920s here was prohibition. Mm-hmm.
Which is
There was
wild.
never prohibition. There was
Telling
never
you.
prohibition in
People
Cuba.
don't know this stuff, but this is shit that just goes over people's head. They don't teach this type of shit.
Yeah.
I mean, we learned about prohibition.
No, prohibition, but I'm talking about this side of it, the American dealing
So-
with Cuba.
Right, the ties.
The ties.
Let's say he was 15 years old. He had to go out and hustle and make it to help his sisters. He went to work for this American ice company. He started working there, delivering ice. My father had huge arms, huge arms. The rest of the body, I don't know, but he had huge arms.
Probably from carrying ice.
From carrying ice, he would get a sack, throw the ice with scissors, grab this, bah, boom, boom, and he would walk upstairs with 20 pounds of ice, 25 pounds of ice. So I guess that's the answer of why he got into cars. Is he started getting into cars. This American guys who owned the American Ice Company told him one day, "Hey, do you want to race? Do you want to do this? Do you want to drive a truck? Do you want to do this instead of carrying the ice up?" He said, "Yeah, no problem." During those days, I think they were making like $3.50 a week.
$3.50 a week back in those days.
Back in those days,
Back in those
$3.50. Okay, so my father started working with him as a driver. He must have been under 20 years old. 1920s go, the end of 1920s, prohibition here. Okay, these guys go down there. American guys go down to the American Ice Company, and they have all these trucks. Well, they start trafficking in alcohol. Alcohol was the big drug of the day.
Right.
Okay, so they're picking up alcohols from the warehouses and stuff, and they need a driver, and they need somebody that's reliable. So they go to my dad, and he's like maybe 20 years old, and they told him, "Hey, listen, do you want to make 3 times what you make a week?" And my father said, "Yeah, no problem, whatever."
Yeah,
well,
claro
you
que
take
sí,
the
yeah,
lead.
yeah.
100%.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
Yeah, you take the lead of the truck. These 3 trucks are going to follow you. You're going to go to the port. Okay, we got everything handled. Everything's taken care of. A boat's going to come in. You're going to supervise the unloading of the crates. So my father did that. He did that for a couple of years, and it worked out for him. Okay, prohibition ended, 1930. All the trafficking stopped. Guess what came up? Casinos. Cuba was the Las Vegas of the 1930s, 40s, and 50s.
Yeah.
They would have never, if Cuba would have never turned communist, I don't know what would have happened to Vegas.
It wouldn't exist.
Okay?
It wouldn't
So,
exist. It wouldn't. I'm telling you right now. Everyone says that it wouldn't exist.
It wouldn't be like
It wouldn't
Vegas
be-
is West Coast, though, no?
Well, no, that's the whole thing. If Cuba would have never went that direction, there probably would have been a lot more integration of Cuba into the United States.
Right.
And then
Because
it would have been a destination
during the 30s,
before
40s,
Cancun,
and 50s, all the movie
before
stars here and all
crap.
that, if they wanted to have a good time, they wanted to go away for the weekend, it was only 90 miles away.
Yeah.
Either a ferry or a short, airplane ride.
Easy to get there.
Easy to get there. Boom. And then they were there. They were in a different country. They were free to do whatever they wanted to do. So they really enjoyed themselves. Casinos, dancing, and whatever else they did. So there was a casino called the SCC. There was another one called the Tropicana. There was another one called the Hipódromo. Okay. And they all gambled. This same guys that owned the American Ice Company graduated from ice to alcohol and now casinos. Well, long and behold, Traficante was involved. There was a couple of German Jews. This is all according to what my father used to tell me. And every time they went to Cuba to collect from the casino, to pick up the money, they needed somebody reliable. They knew my father from 10, 15 years before, and they knew he was reliable. So they always called him. Once every 2 weeks, maybe twice a month, they would come down, go through all the casinos, collect, get on the plane, take the money, and leave. And my father kept his mouth shut, didn't say anything. So they would go to Cuba, and they would get like a Packard back in those days, or like a Cadillac. They wanted a semi-fast car in case anything happened. And they went and they did their rounds. So my father drove for them and worked on the cars at the same time.
He was Baby Driver.
Yeah, literally.
You seen Baby Driver?
Yeah, literally. That's exactly. It's
Your
exactly
father
what
was
it is.
Baby Driver in Cuba.
Yes.
Basically, you're talking about
Way back in the
you're
day.
talking about 1930s.
Yeah.
He bought himself a Packard. He bought himself a Cadillac later on because he made money with them.
Some people don't even know what a Packard is. Probably there's people that are watching
Packard,
this
all
don't
American
don't even know what that is.
All American make.
Really?
Yeah,
We're talking about the 30s here.
very
Yeah, literally.
big, very big, like tanks, big engines too, semi-fast for those times.
For those days.
For those times.
Yeah.
Then he made it. He
It's weird
made
what it used to be fast.
I know, right?
He made it to where in the 1940s, he bought some property.
Yeah.
Okay. He bought a building, a 10-unit apartment building, and he bought a garage, a lot, where I used to look at it as a baby boy or a 6 or a 7-year-old, 5-year-old, and I used to look at it, and to me, it looked like it fit 300 cars. But in reality, now that I can Google it and stuff, maybe 30 cars at the most.
Yeah.
And everybody in the neighborhood used to pay the rent, whether it was covered garage or not, and my father used to make money out of that.
So this was just parking, storage.
Parking. And then some people would work on their cars, and he let them work on their cars or whatever. But it was everybody from the neighborhood. They used to pay like $2.50. We're talking about 1950s. And he was doing great. Right when he was doing the best that he could in his life, guess what happened? Castro came in, 1959.
The takeover.
Takeover. They took everything away. They confiscated everything, all your businesses and everything. You had to go collect the rent from your tenants and keep 10% for yourself, and 90% used to go to the government, national, Cuban, communist, whatever.
Yeah.
Bank. And I saw that. We're talking about 1966, 1967. I used to ride in my father had a 53 Chevy back then. And I remember like it was yesterday, sitting in the passenger seat, and we would go to the bank and deposit the money, and he would tell me that this is all I can keep, because if not, something bad will happen. That's how I kind of started. I remember that my father's 53 Chevy, now you're talking about 1953, 1967, 1968, the motor blew. Back in those days, they were all 6 cylinders, and everybody in Cuba wanted a 6-cylinder, because most of the mechanics, they didn't know how to work on V8s. Mm-hmm. That was the reality of it.
Yeah.
And the 6 cylinders were economical, and they were used for taxes and stuff. So the motor blew up, and there was nothing available because we were under communism. Everything was taken away. The last car that came into Cuba was the 1961 Impala. That I had to tell you. There was nothing.
Yeah.
So for me, as far as I was concerned, I was a little boy, 6, 7 years old. I would look at cars, and I would say, there's no more cars past 1961.
Frozen in time.
Yes. Little did I know
Frozen in
the
time.
production of cars was normal here every year. Mm-hmm. But to me, 1961 Impala, that was it. That was the last one.
Yeah.
Well, going back to the 53 Chevy, the motor blew, and they couldn't find an engine. Long and behold, they find a V8 from, 56. It was a small little 265 or 283, nothing big. But the cross member on the 53 wouldn't fit a V8. So I remember going to the garage, and then the guys, his friends, cutting up the center cross member and everything so the V8 would fit. I think I'm gathering that now as an adult.
Mm-hmm.
It's all coming back to them.
It's all coming back. Yeah.
Replaying it.
And they put a V8 in it.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, when they got everything, the drivetrain, the whole drivetrain, the transmission, the rear end, everything, they took it out of the 56 and they put it into the 53. I don't know how they adapted everything, but they did. When I rode in that car, I was used to the 6-cylinder before, and he used to go through the gears on the column. 1, 2, 3 gears on the column. The car used to pull a whole lot harder. V8. That was my first taste of a hot rod.
Yeah.
You're talking about when I was 6 or 7 years old. Now, I didn't know.
That's when you got bit by the bug.
I would say the bug bit his ass early.
Yeah.
It bit his ass early.
He felt that
shit.
V8 and was like,
early
this
shit.
is the way.
Yes, 100%.
Remember, I'm still in Cuba. I'm ignorant.
Yeah.
Okay. And that's what I remember going back that far.
So when did you come over?
1970.
1970. So
1970. I came with my family.
Okay.
Bro, so think about it. He 1961 is the last car that he even knows exists.
Yeah.
Comes over from Cuba to the United States, lands, shits himself immediately.
1970. We go to that Cuban refugee deal in Florida on Biscayne.
In Miami.
We go through the whole immigration thing, everything legal.
Yeah.
Okay. We get we get the shots and everything.
Like
At the end of the day, this is from like 7:00 in the morning. We're wasted by the end. I'm 10 years old. I'm wasted. By the time we get to 4 or 5 o'clock in the afternoon, I don't know what's going on. I'm just a kid. Mm-hmm. And I see my mom on the phone, and we go to a Coke machine. I see a Coke for the first or the second time in my life, because I saw a Coke a long time ago in Cuba.
Yeah.
But I didn't know what it was. For the first time, I see a Coke. Wow. And I saw a vending machine. What the hell is that? A robot. You put money in it, and it spits the drinks out. I didn't know anything. And we finally are done with the whole day. We go out to the front, and here comes my mother's cousin. En,
Oye, pero bro,
oye, espérate, man. ¿Todo está bien?
aguántate.
Here comes my mother's cousin in a 69. Now I know. I didn't know then. 69 Caprice with the headlights.
Yeah.
We get in it. I mean, there was 5 or 6 of us in it, and it was hot. It was a typical Florida day. And when we get in the car, I'm sitting in the back seat, and I'm like, what is this? And I feel this cold air come out. Whoa, holy shit. Air conditioning in a car. And like, wow, what is this? And boom, boom, boom. We went to his house. They fed us. They gave us clothes.
Could you imagine feeling the cold AC for the first time?
For the first
Never
time.
knowing what that concept is, sitting down and feeling that in your face.
On
Like, what is this air? Why is it chilly?
On the way to his house, he lived in a little house. They were immigrants too.
Yeah.
They had just been there a few years before us. I started looking out the window, and I see all these cars that I don't know. All I've been bred on is 1950s car. 61 was the last year for me. And here's 67, 68, 69 Chevelles, all different Impalas. I go, wait a minute, that says Impala on it. What is this? I've never seen this Impala. Well, lo and behold, it was a 67 or a 68. That kind of dawned on me.
Yeah.
Okay.
That was when American muscle was really starting to get into its own too. 1967, 1968, 1969, 1970. You were
I
coming
didn't know
right into
anything
that.
about muscle cars. I didn't know anything. I just knew that this was new for me because I'm looking at a style of car and different type of cars and sounds that are completely different. We spent 4 days in Florida. My sister already lived here since 1966 in LA. So we have to fly out to LA because they were the ones that claimed us. There was no government help, no nothing.
Yeah.
We had to live with our family. So we fly over, and lo and behold, I walk into this jet. It looked like a house inside, and no sound. Then when we were up in the air, when we were taking off, it's bzzz, all new experiences for me. Okay, We fly over, 5 hours. We land in LA. Lo and behold, everybody's waiting for us at the airport like a typical immigrant family.
Yeah.
Okay. During those days, you could go right up to the plane,
Yeah.
right up to the gate. It's not like this.
Right. It's different times.
Different times. There was
Which
no terrorism.
I can't even fathom. Can you
There's
imagine
no
walking out the
terrorism,
plane
no nothing.
and you have 30,
You went to
30
the
of your
airport,
families
it's crazy.
waiting for you? I couldn't imagine that shit.
You went to the airport and you went straight back to the gate.
Yeah.
And you greeted your family right
You
there.
can't even do
Like a
sneak-
bus stop.
You couldn't even do like a sneaky link. You can't fly in. No one sees you hit the thing and then slide out. You can't
that
do
all
that.
happened. We finally got in, and I remember my sister had a station wagon, had a Ford station wagon, 1964, 1963. This is 1970. They couldn't afford a new car. We get in the car. We get on the freeway. Wow, the freeway. What is this highway? My God, everybody's racing, and I'm looking at the speedometer, and it says miles per hour, not kilometers. And this is all new for me. So we're on the freeway, and now I can put it together. I couldn't put it together back then. I remember we were coming off LAX, off of the 405 into the Santa Monica freeway. And I see this car, and it looks like a spaceship. To me, it looked like a spaceship. Long and behold, I didn't know what it was. I found out later, much later.
Yeah.
Corvette. I knew it.
69,
I knew it.
1969, 1970, circa.
Yeah.
70.
For those
Brand
of you
new
guys,
Ford.
yeah.
It looked
That.
like a spaceship, and it just boom. And then traffic got slowed, and we went forward again, and I got to see it again. I kind of looked at it, and I go, my God, what is this? This to me looks like spaceship.
69.
Somewhere around there,
So this
69.
is C3. This is a C3.
C3. Correct.
Stingray.
Correct.
Yes.
Stingray.
Yeah.
I didn't
those
know
are
what
good looking.
I
They're
didn't, I
very
didn't know
good
what
looking
a-
cars.
I didn't know
Best
what it
gens.
was. All I knew
Right,
was
right.
this car that looked like a spaceship.
Yeah.
I can only imagine seeing one of those for the first time ever coming from.
And having no fathom concept of that type of car.
Right.
And you're just like, what?
Like you're thinking about
Not knowing that there were new cars.
Right.
Yeah.
You think about the boat, like he was seeing boats.
and then you see some
Big-ass
nice
cars.
curvy, and even back in
And
the
then
day, telling you,
You see a C3 Stingray,
just zoom by you.
like this, just with those big like.
Not even
Big
months ago,
fenders.
he had
Front
AC for the
haunches on
first
the
time.
front.
Yeah, I'm telling you.
That pointy front.
Yeah. For
Oh,
those of you guys who have been following us for a little bit, you guys know my obsession with Corvettes and why I defend American cars and so much. You're looking at the poison that happened to me
I
when I
gave
was
him the
young.
bug.
Yes. Bug, poison, whatever you want to call it. But this is the reason why I am the way that I am.
I've always had Corvettes.
So seeing that Corvette, was that what changed it
Kind of
all?
hit me for the first time.
Yeah.
I had to find out what it was. Long and behold, going to Thrifties or whatever, what you guys call Rite Aid now.
Rite Aid, that shit don't even exist anymore. Rite Aid's on the way out, too.
Vons. I would go and get the magazines and look at the car magazines and look at, oh my God. And I read Corvette. Mind you, I was 12, 13 years old when I found out what it was.
Yeah.
Because by that time I knew a little bit of English. I'd already gone to school and stuff. And I said, oh,
Not that much.
this is my future. In my head, as a kid.
We're still working on it.
Yeah, we're still working on it.
As a kid, in my future, this is it.
Yeah.
So we went home. I went to school. Everything started happening. I remember going to school my first day. You want to hear about that?
Your first day? It's a good story.
First day
Yeah,
of
it's
school,
a, it's,
yeah,
a,
let's
it's a
hear it.
really good story. It's a really good story.
I go into school. As a matter of fact, Lockwood Elementary, down the street.
Half a block.
That's crazy.
Half a block from where we're at right now.
How about that?
Yeah, no,
Is that
literally.
weird?
Yeah,
Yeah.
literally. No, he does. When you came here, the house that you were here at, where was it at?
On Lockwood.
1 block.
All I had to
Your
do
history is right here.
All I had to do, it's a block away.
Yeah.
All I had to do was walk half a block, and I was in school already, which my parents loved.
Yeah.
I didn't know how to speak English. I didn't know how to read English. I'm 10 and a half years old, maybe 10.1, all right? They put me in school, and all right, so I'm used to school in Cuba. You have your own little desk, and you sit in it, and you have your stuff in there, and they teach you all the communist stuff that they want to teach you. That's unreal. That's another conversation for another day. And I go into the classroom, and I don't see any desk. I don't see anything. All I see is a long table in the shape of a U. And they tell me, go and sit over there. They pointed at me because I didn't know what they were saying. So here I am, and all the kids are, around the table, and they have their books out and blah, blah, blah. Nobody's talking to me because nobody can talk to me.
Give the raw story. Don't.
So
No aguanta nada.
So I'm looking.
Dalo
I'm
todo.
sitting there. I'm okay. I'm in America. I'm in the United States. I'm American school. So I'm expecting a blonde, blue eye, sort of like you, woman or men to come in to be the teacher. And I'm sitting there, blah 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 blah, blah, and all of a sudden, this Oriental lady comes in. I go, ¿qué es esto? Una china. Esto no puede ser posible. Chino vino a la China.
Do you get what he's
I'm
saying?
not in China.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah,
All right.
And
Just making sure.
to us, if you're Oriental, you are Chino. Got it?
Yeah.
So
to the Cubans.
No,
Yeah.
yeah. Most Hispanic cultures are like that.
there's
yeah,
there's a
we
lot of
don't-
Chinese that went to Cuba, so it was a
hence
lot
the-
of Chinese.
The Chinese writing on the bracelet. Remember I explained it all to
See
you?
that on the
He's got it too. It's the
on the
Chinese-
bracelet and all that.
Yeah.
There's a
We don't
huge
wanna
Chinese
go into
history.
that.
Yeah,
We don't
that's
wanna-
too deep.
too much.
That's too deep.
So
Sorry.
this lady
Deep cuts.
kind of introduces me. Hey, this is a new student, blah blah. But I didn't know what she was saying.
Yeah.
We went through that. At around 10:30 in the morning, I hear this bell. Wow. And I see all the kids get up and get in line, and I follow them. I'm the last one. I follow them. Okay, let's see what's going on.
Because your English wasn't that good at this time.
The what?
Your English wasn't that good at this
No,
time.
what
So
English?
That's what I'm saying.
What
so,
English?
So
There was no English.
The teacher's talking.
And I didn't
Nothing's
understand.
registering.
Right.
He has no
All I
idea
heard-
what the
all I
fuck's
heard-
going on.
All I heard was the bell, and then the kids getting up, and I said, okay, let me follow them, see what they're going. So they went into the playground. There's a bench there, and there's a stand or something, and I see them going and getting a thing of a little square thing, and they have an aluminum foil, and they give you an aluminum foil. Oh, you have a ticket. They give you a ticket like 10 cents or 8 cents or something, 5 cents, and you give them the ticket, and they give you an aluminum foil and a square box that had liquid in it. Remember, I didn't know how to read. Okay, so I open up the foil, and I see that it's a hot dog, and it's got ketchup already in it. I said, okay, I know what this is.
Think about this.
Pre-dressed?
This is to
Pre-dress
eat.
is wild.
This is to eat.
Yeah.
10:30, 10:45 in the morning, and I'm looking at the other box, and I'm like, what is
Those ones
this?
Chocolate milk.
Chocolate milk. And it said, all I know is it said, I knew how to read Spanish.
Yeah.
M-I-L-K. I didn't know what that meant. M-I-L-K.
Yeah.
And I started looking around, and my
It's not close to leche.
No, not at all. Not at all. No,
Not even
no,
the same.
no,
row.
not even
Leche
same.
not
milk.
even. And I look around, and I look at the guy next to me, or the kid next to me, and he goes, opens it up, starts drinking it. I go, oh, okay. I went, I tore it apart. The milk fell on me. That was my first day in school.
So I was sitting there.
Because I had never seen
dripped in
milk
like an
in a
idiot.
square little container.
Yeah, he's got milk on him.
That you could open up
Nope.
and sip out of it. I went to it, pop, pop, and it opened up and it just fell on me. I was thirsty,
Yeah,
let me tell you. So I didn't drink anything the first day in school.
but
That's a hell of a little bit of a...
he knows he
background.
loves Corvettes. So let's go into Corvettes a little bit. How many Corvettes have you had?
Wow, what a fucking question.
Yeah, I know you've had a handful.
Yeah, this is ridiculous.
And I'd like
More
to.
than a handful.
And then
I'd like to hear you rip them.
I would say
them
3
off.
handfuls at least.
3 handfuls at
At least.
least.
At
Yeah.
least.
Okay.
And I've seen it's past me. I'm 25 now, so
have you had every generation?
Every generation.
You've had
Every single day that he was in his room.
You've had
as
50s?
a 5-year-old, I had a 62.
a 62.
He was a 5-6-year-old. There was a Corvette in the driveway all the time. Okay?
Yeah.
He was 7, 10 years old. He would go out. He would enjoy it, but he didn't know. He was only 10 years old. My first Corvette, I bought it from my brother-in-law, Richard Rhodes, Buddy Rhodes.
Give us the good details. No,
The good
fucking
details?
don't give me the
He
old
used-
man bullshit story. Give me the good. I don't want to fucking
was a-
Richard Rose, 1962, and then start going. Just
He
give
was
me a good
big
part of the
guy,
story.
Big guy like you. Big guy like, not as big as you, but big.
It's hard to be as big as
Maybe
me, but yeah.
6'1", 220.
So nowhere near the
White
size
guy,
of me. But
white
yeah.
guy, white, very white guys. Hung around white people. That's it. He was a motorcycle. What do you call it?
Chopper?
A chopper guy.
Yeah, yeah.
He had a chopper. He had a chopper.
I wasn't gonna help him. I wasn't gonna help him. I was gonna let them say.
Shout out American
He was
Choppers.
definitely a chopper guy.
History
and he hung
Channel,
around.
literally.
He hung around the whole gang, and he had black leather on and everything. Somehow he met my middle sister at Papermate. You know what Papermate is?
Yeah.
Where they made the pens and all that
Yeah,
stuff
yeah.
right here in Torrance. And he was the foreman of all the machinery.
Okay.
And my sister used to work on one of the machines. Typical immigrant. Okay. So he met her there. I guess they got together or whatever. They were together for like 10 or 15 years. I don't really remember. He was a Corvette guy, and he was a chopper guy. So he came in one day, and he comes in with a Corvette. Oh my God, what is this? I had to drive it. I must have been like 14 or 15 years old. And he threw the keys at me.
How about that?
He let
Wow.
you drive the shit at 14,
14,
15?
15 years
Well,
old.
that was different too back in the day.
It
That was
was
way
different.
different.
Definitely
Way
Plus,
different.
plus, I knew how to drive.
Supposedly,
I've been driving since I was at least 8, 9 years old.
because now he can't drive for shit. So supposedly back in this
But at
day,
the
now
time,
I
he
drive
can
better
drive.
than you. What are you talking
No,
about?
you don't drive better than me.
Oye,
You-
man, espérate.
Go ahead.
No me tires tan bajo.
Go ahead.
He takes his time,
Yeah.
but he gets there.
Yeah, we'll get there. Just be patient with the fucking stories. We'll get
Hey,
there.
get on a track with
Imagine
me.
my day-to-day life.
Me
Some
and the
people don't
Corvette
understand.
and the
Imagine I
Ferrari.
deal with this fucker every day.
See, this is another thing that you guys don't know. We have a great relationship. I've never been one of these guys or a grandfather that has always demanded respect. I'm your grandfather. No. He grew up as my friend.
Yeah,
And
very
I
true.
was hoping to be his best friend all the time. So whatever happened, we
Very
chopped
true.
it up right there and then.
Very true.
Yeah.
Especially, I don't want to Cubans. Okay, you get into a relationship with a Cuban, and you're gonna find out that the mannerism and the way we talk, it's very aggressive.
Yeah, very much
aggressive
so.
Spanish.
You can already see he's hit the mic 7 times since he set that down.
And I
So-
scooted it back. I kept it far from him too. He's like, I'm
Still-
gonna move my hands.
it
I'm like,
still
all right,
wasn't
well, we can put it here.
We would get into arguments. I would, hey, don't do this, whatever. Very disciplined. I'm former military.
Yeah.
So he grew up around me and, hey, take the trash out, do this, do that, whatever. Hey, what are you doing? You're lacking behind. And he got that pressure from me all the time, when he was a kid. But I never demanded respect. Oh, you have to respect me because I'm your grandfather or whatever. No. Whatever you got to say, tell me. Whatever goes wrong in your life, tell me. And we'll try to resolve it together. Okay? We kind of got off. I mean, I think I went overboard because now you got this.
A monster, yeah. Absolutely.
He created a monster.
Yeah,
We
literally a
Cubans
monster.
get into an argument and we chop it up right there.
Yeah.
Oye, ¿qué pasa, men? Dime, ¿qué estás haciendo? Lo que tú digas. No hagas eso, man. Tú eres medio come mierda. ¿Qué es lo que te pasa? And we chop it up right
fucking
there.
going right over again.
None of this.
But Marvin's laughing.
Why was that?
So that you
Marvin's
guys
back
can
there.
learn. So that you guys can learn. We don't do this holding grudges stuff.
Yeah, we don't hold
I don't
emotions
wanna talk to
back.
you anymore,
As you guys can
you did
see,
me
when we
wrong.
start getting arguing, you see me come out like fire right away. It's because it's just how I was born.
That's how he's
We're
been
like,
programmed.
whoa.
Yeah, calm down.
I wasn't trying to make that point.
Yeah,
Relax.
exactly.
So we chop it up right there.
Yeah.
And we wouldn't hold grudges with each other. Tell me what's wrong. Boom. Let's hash it out right here and then. Don't come to me 3 weeks later and tell me, oh, you did this to me 3 weeks ago and blah, blah, blah. And, I don't feel good. No. That didn't exist. Tell me what it is. Let's take care of it right now. So we kind of aired it out right at that moment. We took care of things and we went on to the next thing. We resolved things. We took care of things. And that's how he kind of grew up.
So you get the keys from your brother-in-law to this Corvette. What's next?
I drove it a little bit, not too much.
Yeah.
My sister, don't let him drive it, don't, whatever. So I had to come back home. That was it. I fell in love, man. I felt how that thing drove and everything. To me, was like being in the air.
And that's the one you ended up buying?
No.
Or you bought a different one?
No. He bought, that's the one.
What
That's
year
the
was
one.
what year was that one, you think?
77. Right before I went to Marine Corps.
Stingray.
Okay.
What's your favorite Corvette? If you had to name it down to one.
Without a doubt, the new CO6.
What?
Without
a doubt.
The new Z06? Are you kidding me?
No.
No love for no
Now,
C4,
remember,
nothing?
I've had them all. I've had the ZR1.
True.
Okay. I've had the Grand Sport. I've had them all. And to me, this new CO6 is a monster.
I'm actually shocked by his answer. I was
The
expecting him to
ZR1,
say
let me
some
tell you, the
shit time
ZR1
box,
had a
something
lot
like that.
of top end. Once you put it in third, fourth gear, it would ask you for more. You could feel it. You could feel it on your bang, bang. You could bang the ear. By the time you were in fifth gear, you were doing close to 180 miles an hour, maybe 190, which
And supposedly still pull.
it asked me for another gear. And I said, no, I'm going fast enough. I think I went 182 on it.
Just want you to know I love that response we just got.
Why?
That was perfect. The passion behind everything he just said was wonderful.
Yeah,
Telling
always
you,
had
it's
beautiful.
Corvettes.
I just can't believe, because the whole thing, people forget about this, and this is one of the things that people don't discuss enough, is Corvette, their whole thing, like, you guys are experiencing this in real time, okay? Baby boomer era, he is the prime definition of what Corvette's target market since 1960 is. Now, the C8 Corvette, in my opinion, whether GM wants to come out and actually disclose this or not, they got to a point where they're like, okay, the baby boomer generation is ending. Okay, all of our target
know that
market.
we're all dying.
Yeah, you guys are done. You guys, it's donezo.
That sounds bad.
Let it be bad. So they have to appeal to a new market. The new market of people, young,
Is the younger
mid 20s,
generation.
young 30s, tatted,
That's why they
everything
went
between.
mid-engine.
So they had to re-engineer the car, not only because on the last night, let's say the 1901, it was the most they could have done with that platform.
What an animal.
An animal. You can't even put the power down.
No, you
no.
can't.
So
you
they
don't have enough weight in the back.
They had to restructure the car.
They
So
had to.
they thought about it all together. They go, if we time this out right, we can transition to a different style of car, different look, appeal to a different market, and then build on the future. So the fact that you're telling me that the C8 Z06 is your favorite car when they partly did it because they thought, what do we care about the baby boomers' opinion? We want the next generation coming up. And a lot of us care about mid-engine, more of a European style imagery. That's big for us.
You guys care about the nomenclature, about what the car looks like, what it feels like, okay? Me, it's the whole thing, the whole car. And I have to admit, the new CO6 is the best they've ever made. The best so far. Now, my ZR1 was an animal. My Grand Sport has a Vortex supercharger. That pulls. But you wear that car.
Yeah, but you're talking about fucking cars from
Whatever,
that
but
shit.
I'm-
They can't hold a candle to the new Z06.
Of course not.
No, they can't hold a candle to it.
Especially normally aspirated.
Yeah.
But there's some people that would probably say that these older Corvettes are.
Well, don't get me
Nice.
wrong.
Well-
Get me wrong. My 17 CO6, an intake, and a bore like sauce. That's all you needed. You're on the freeway. You're going 55 miles an hour. You get on it, that car would woo, and the traction control will kick in.
Yeah, that car is
woo,
nasty.
And it would straighten it out. Nothing could touch that car up to about 100, 120. The acceleration on that car,
Nothing near its price point.
Right.
Yeah.
Nothing near its price point.
this thing here, which we've done it.
This thing
Yeah.
would get
which we've done
smoked.
it,
Smoke.
up to about 110, maybe about 120. This has faster acceleration up on top. We've
Really?
done it.
Yeah.
Think about how this car is geared and engineered compared to the C706. So I've been trying to tell everybody and explain the difference between that car and something like this. I mean, in my opinion, it's just shit doesn't hold a candle the way these cars are. That's why GM went that way. But you like low end power, more torque, more bullshit. I like more high end, high revving RPM motors.
Could it be because you've never been there?
Probably.
You've never been 180 miles an hour?
No, I've been pretty damn fast, especially with you. We've been pretty damn fast together. But even still, you're more so
Out of the
you
country.
like the mechanical feel of the car.
In
Like
Mexico.
for example, if you had the option right now to pick between driving a car that's manual or automatic, what would your answer be?
Close call. Because after driving the CO6 with the paddles, it's like sleeping. It's
Discount
like-
your old
wait a
age
minute,
and
wait.
the
It's
discomfort.
like so easy and feels good, the sound of the car and everything. But in reality, give me a stick.
A stick?
Give me a stick.
Think about how stupid that answer is.
Why?
Because you're first off, every single time that you have to shift, that car, an automatic car, doesn't. I'm still going faster and faster than you, and
I'll
everything.
give you all
between.
that. I'll give you all that. Nothing's faster than automatic when it comes to shifting or paddles, okay?
Obviously.
So there's
But-
really no benefit to having a manual. Then. What you want
To me, there is.
You want to feel
I want
connected
to
to
feel.
the car. And you wanna-
I'm holding that shifter. Let's say I had a gated 308 when I was 23 years old, okay?
You had a gated 308 when you were 20 years old.
When I was
23 years
black
old.
on black. Triple
That's a
black.
Ferrari.
Okay,
For
I
those of you
made
that
it. I
don't
made
know.
it when I was
Motherfucker.
23 years old.
Sounds like someone.
I bought my first house when I was 23 years old.
Black on black Ferrari 308 at 23.
308. 19,
And a house.
1981. The
Dan-
first fuel injected
dangerous.
Ferrari. 308.
Think about how dangerous that is.
Yeah.
That's wild.
It's a dangerous combination.
Gated 5-speed. I think 5-speed. Oh my God. That was like a sewing machine behind your ear. Woo! And then every time you shift it, you felt the connection on your arm.
I've never. That's so.
That connection on my arm and shifting it and gating it perfectly programmed, boom.
Yeah.
And every time you shift it, you felt it in your whole body, your butt, everything, your legs, everything. None of this pop stuff. It's like too easy. Mind you, I love it. I like it. It's easy. I'm getting older.
You're definitely getting older.
Yeah.
That's definitely.
Yeah, I don't know. Like the manual transmission is dying off. It was dying off rapidly, and then there's some people trying to bring it back and keep it alive.
It's damn near dead,
There's
bro.
been a lot of demand for it. So like you got the Porsche culture and like the JDM culture that keeps the manual alive.
Who do you think you owe that to?
Fast and Furious franchise,
Drag racing.
drag racing.
Drag racing.
I don't know about that one. But
Everybody wanted a 4-speed in the old days.
let's hear this. Go ahead.
And then the Turbo 400s came into play, manual valve bodies, and you shifted them manually. There's no clutch. It was an automatic. Nothing could shift faster than an automatic. That's where it all started, out of drag racing.
Yeah.
Mind you, I got an NHRA professional drag racing license when I was 24 years old. I went to school for it, I paid for it, and I attained it, okay? I've gone 202 miles an hour, 201 miles an hour, and 202 miles an hour. Professionally done by an instructor in a drag strip by myself. If they tell me to do that again, forget it.
Absolutely not. He doesn't have enough balls. Doesn't have
out.
anymore. No.
Well, I have.
Even with
No, you
even with
don't.
today's cars,
I have what it takes. I just don't have the eyesight or the reaction
Yeah.
anymore.
His hand-eye coordination. He doesn't have it anymore.
I mean, it's definitely.
You gotta understand, hot rodding, besides Corvettes and everything, hot rodding was his thing. It still is his thing. I don't know if you can see it in the frame, but there's on this one of these lifts that are back here.
No,
there's
you can't see it.
It's way back there.
85 Corvette, all topped out, roll cage, everything. It's a full-on race car.
What is that thing pushing?
That
wheel?
one has a normally
Is that the
aspirated
Grand
engine,
Sport?
has a 570.
no, different one.
This is different. This is a drag-built Corvette.
A drag-
So say this
yeah.
is shit that again because we don't even talk because there's no need to go to the drag strip.
Yeah.
What is that thing pushing? 9 something?
940, somewhere around there, normally aspirated. 14 and a half, 15 to 1 compression, 572, normally aspirated. Single carburetor. But the carburetor is 1500 CFM.
What's it run?
You're speaking a fucking different
I
language.
think the best, because I didn't push it anymore, because it's set up for nitrous, and I've never put the nitrous on it. It ran, normally aspirated, ran a 991
in the quarter.
in the quarter mile.
People don't understand.
nine-
how-
nine?
A 9.9.
It could have
Sub
gone
10.
faster. It could have gone faster, but that was good enough. 991, and I took it home. I didn't want to break it.
People who know, that's To run nines.
People watch what's it called, Fast and Furious, and they hear sub 10 car and they think that that's just like
It's regular.
because sub 10 car
you
is
want to hear
Crazy fucking
Hey, I
fast.
keep mumbling on, but I'm gonna let you know right
Yeah,
now.
no.
In the old days, in my days, hot roddy,
The leaning forward.
when I was 15, 16 years old, you went 12s in the quarter mile. Oh my God, you were the talk of the neighborhood.
Yeah.
12s?
A car that went 12s.
Now we can do
was
that with
fast.
trucks.
Bro, I'm pretty sure a Corolla like GE will do 12 and a half now in the quarter.
The TRD V6.
TRD V6
You
is
went
that
a
shit.
low 12, and that was fast. That was during my time. If you went 11s, oh my God, you could mostly beat everything and everybody out there if you went 11s. Porsches, nothing. Nothing. That was a glorified Volkswagen. That's what everybody
still is.
looked at it. That's why I have this Porsche. Don't get me wrong. I like the new ones are bitching. But the old
All
ones,
right.
you're talking about the old Porsches, 4-cylinder, 6-cylinder, flat six. They sounded like Volkswagens. They rode like a skateboard. They were uncomfortable, and they would handle a shit.
What is
They
riding
were
like a
very,
skateboard?
very famous for. They used to call them the Widowmakers.
Yeah.
And they couldn't stand next to a Corvette, not even one iota. You would come up to a Corvette, and a Corvette would bloop, be gone, and you still be hitting that Porsche. Not the Porsches didn't come alive until 1978
Yeah.
with the turbos and all that. And you got to be careful because those were really heavy in the back, and when those turbos came in, you could lose them at any time. So Porsches to me, other than the new ones, were nothing. Were shit. I never looked at a Porsche. I have friends that had Porsches, but I looked at them, nothing.
Nothing.
So
Tell me, so you've had all sorts of Corvettes, just to like rip off some of the more modern ones of note. We've got a C6 ZR1, which was an animal of a car. A C7 Z06, which was also an animal of a car. And now you got the C8 Z06, which is your favorite Corvette. We've got the 458. You know what this feels like.
absolutely.
Not too much. I don't let them take it around too much.
What do you think about the 458?
You got to remember, the C06 was patented after the 458. And this is 2010.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're talking 2023.
But don't think about it in comparison. Just like driving this car, because I've driven both, and they feel, to me, like way different.
Way different.
They don't feel anything
The
alike.
Corvette is more of a car. You can feel it's heavier.
More of a car.
More of a car.
That's all you
Okay?
need to say.
That's all you
It's
got to
perfect.
say.
Yeah.
Right? And when you can cruise on it, you can take turns on it, you can floor it. The sound that it makes, very similar to this. Not quite. I would say 90%.
Yeah.
90% of what this sounds like. This feels more like a go-kart. When you go to the crest and you get in the crest,
Oh.
you can drive an Huracan, you can drive whatever you want to drive. This is still tits. This is one of the best cars there is.
It is true.
You say tits?
He said tits. He did say tits.
In the crest, this is the tits, 100%.
This is the tits.
Yeah.
And not only that, the sound. You got 9,000 RPM. When you're on the freeway and you want to hit it, you don't have to, but if you hit it, that sound whoop, all the way up, whoop, all the way up, man, that's music to my ears.
Same.
This is it.
Yeah.
This is the old Ferrari cult. The guys that want Ferraris, that want to feel a Ferrari, that don't want to stick, that don't want a 308, that don't go to a 430. This is it.
So you're a big fan of the 458.
I've always been. Well, I had a Ferrari when I was 23 years old,
Yeah.
so I've always been.
Think about it. When I got this thing and I was like, yo, take it and drive it, he calls me. He's like, man, you're bringing me back in the day. He's going down the freeway.
I went back.
Go
The
bring
sound,
me back in
the
the day.
sound, the sound.
Yeah.
The feeling a little bit, but the sound. I remember it was very similar to the 308. Very, very similar.
Do you like that high pitch sound more than the low rumble?
Yes, when it comes to sports cars like this.
Yeah.
Okay, take the CO6. The CO6 is a monster, either low or high, and it sounds just like this.
Yeah.
Okay.
Not quite.
Imagine we're able to start putting exhaust on that Z06.
That Z06 is going to
That
be
Z06
insanity.
is going to sound crazy.
It's going to sound crazy. It really is.
The only thing you can do to that thing is straight pipe it.
We got to get that thing unlocked here in the States.
Telling you,
And
it'll
then-
happen.
And then
No,
Eric
you're
is
talking
gonna-
about the sound. The
Yeah.
sound. Remember, I come from the boomer age. I come from American muscle. I'm red, white, and blue through.
As can be.
Okay.
Yeah.
As can be.
And I'm muscle car bound. Even if at my age I hated Dodge, I hated Chrysler, but now I started looking at them and I kind of like them now. But I was a Chevy guy.
Which ones?
The Daytonas, the Hemis, the Challengers, the Chargers.
Okay, so we're still talking about the older cars.
Yeah, we're talking about 1970.
Yeah, we're not talking about
You're talking about how did you say the other day that the car sounded?
What the?
That's wrong. No, it's more like
No.
That's when you hear that a car has a cam.
Think about being at Lake Havasu and just hearing that boat sound as we pass through the channel.
But it wasn't like that. It wasn't boom, 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 boom. It was more like chuck in the marina.
Yes. It's a combination. On the startup, it's like a chuck, and then it flows, and once it idles, then it's
What is that? What is this conversation?
I guarantee you, people are following this conversation. It's the tone.
If you guys don't understand
it's the tone at which
you guys are not car guys.
It's
or boat guys.
It's the tone at which the motor idles. Is basically what it is. Start up and then idle.
No, I get it.
I know people are following this conversation.
I'm just watching it, and this is great. This is hilarious. I'm loving it.
In all reality, he's getting to like this more style car now because of me. But if it wasn't for me, he would still be deep. What?
No. Oye.
No.
Get a Ferrari at 23.
No, but that's
Careful.
different. Then he went. What did he do with it? He went right back to what? What
the muscle cars.
Exactly.
Muscle cars.
You had a Ferrari. What was it right after that? Another Corvette.
You have to remember.
How long did you have the Ferrari?
I'm older. A couple of years.
Okay.
Not even.
Yeah.
Like a year and 8 months or something. Because I wanted to open up a business, and I needed the money. I ran out of money, so I had to sell a Ferrari. And I opened up the business. But if you really take it into account, I've always been a Ferrari guy, because that kind of patented me. The problem is affording it.
Yeah.
Affording it.
So what about what do you think about the Huracan?
Bitchin' car.
Yeah, you've driven that.
Oh yeah.
What do you? What makes it bitchin'?
I think it has more low end torque than this does.
Yeah.
The sound is more of a deeper sound.
Yeah.
It's a great car.
The Huracan's definitely punchy.
Yeah.
When you step on it,
it keeps you alive.
It goes.
We're a little bit like, when it comes to the Huracan, especially the Evos, we're a little bit more like, we like it. I like it a little bit more. Especially he does.
Don't get me wrong. I like them. I like them too. But this is more finesse.
First time we drove a Huracan.
More finesse.
100% more finesse.
More
Yeah.
finesse.
A million times more. And again, we're talking about 2010 versus like we drove like a brand new Huracan. We were in Miami, okay, and we had a brand new. I think this was what, like 2022. I think
For a
maybe.
week. We had it for a week.
We had a week of Huracan Evo, brand new drop top in Miami. No matter what, when you drive that kind of car in Miami, you're gonna fall in love with it. So we're a little bit biased when it comes to it because that fucking car was amazing.
Talking about that, I saw you say something in one of your other podcasts that for you the Crest was it. Why? LA. In other words, LA was it.
Yeah.
Because
LA
of
driving.
the Crest.
Yeah.
Okay. And he said something about Miami, and then you said, but there's nothing like the Crest. I beg to differ. You get on a causeway in Miami,
Forget about
which is
it.
a mile long.
Forget about it.
Straightaway.
Hot rodder.
Straightaway. Blue water on one side, blue water on the other one, and you drive this thing, and you feel like you're in heaven.
Bro, I'm telling
Right
you.
in the middle of causeway.
Take it back. Miami Vice style, like literally ripping down the causeway. Like he says, blue water. And then the craziest part is people don't understand that city's built like downtown is built right on the water.
Yeah.
So you're seeing all the high rises. You can blast whatever music you want. And even imagine if it's a drop top, I promise you, you will forget about the Crest that fast.
I get you. All the turns in the Crest, you don't have that in Miami. But in Miami, you have the long stairways.
Those are
the
two
turnpike.
totally different. They're two totally different experiences.
They are.
One's
But
like
it's the
I'm up
same
here,
car.
I'm
Hey,
driving.
You have
it's
to
like-
drive the same car.
Right.
You have to drive the same car, and you kick the gears on this, pop, 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 boom. And all the sound that it makes, and there's no stopping you, and it's a 2 mile straight.
I feel like with the Crest, it's like it's more of a personal experience. It's like I'm driving the car on the
It is.
Crest. I'm having fun just going fast around these turns. There, I feel like it's probably more about like
Feeling the wind.
right and what it's doing. Like mentally, you're like
Yes.
it's the image of it.
The dopamine.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
you're like
Yes.
you're ripping down the
Absolutely.
road, and you're like,
I
wow,
agree.
I'm in Miami.
I feel like I'm in a TikTok.
I'm in this sports car.
The
Like
Crest takes your attention.
I look sick driving around in this sports car. You're in Miami.
Let me
ripping
tell you,
down the highway.
the Crest, you make a mistake,
Yeah, we
Oh,
don't.
So it takes a lot of your
gone.
attention.
You're gone.
We don't push like that up there.
Yeah, yeah.
No.
We have a
never.
good time.
Miami,
Yeah.
you can
Allegedly.
get
We have a good time in a safe
in Miami. You can get in one of those causeways and just relax and rip through the gears. Blah, 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 and hear, listen to the sound.
You ever seen those motivational TikToks where like it like talks about like the luxury style TikTok and it like cuts up like that? It's basically like you're living at that TikTok in real life.
Yeah.
That's the best way to describe it. It's unreal.
That makes sense.
We're gonna have a supercar connection in Miami pretty soon here, and we'll reclip this with your experience of ripping a causeway like that. I promise you,
I'm
you
sure-
will forget about the crest.
I'm sure it'll be great. I'll
Or
enjoy
at
it.
least momentarily.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
But I like the crest. I think that's fun, especially
Yeah.
when you go up there with friends and you don't overdo it, you don't push it, and everything turns out right. The crest is great.
Everything is always only turned
only in
out
a lane.
right for us.
Yeah, that's very true.
Even when it almost didn't, we found a way.
But like you're saying,
'Cause I
yeah,
worked
that's
my
true.
magic.
Yeah, you do.
Work my magic.
You always work your magic because we've had some scary sights up there with this thing, especially with all the cars we bring up there. But like you even talk about the style of driving. Like most people out here, like for example, I think like why Porsche Colt is so big out here comparative to other parts because you have the crest and supposedly Porsche is one of the better cars for handling. So that's
are.
where you can push.
The
now,
new Porsches.
That's
now,
what they say.
Porsches.
Now,
Yeah.
The new Porsches. If you go back 20 years, or let's say even
10 years, 15 years, 15.
I said 20 years.
20 years?
20
Because you're giving a lot of credit towards the new Porsches. I still think some of the new
They're great
Porsches
cars.
are
They're
dog
great cars.
shit.
They're good everyday cars. They drive great. They're very dependable. One thing that you guys
All those things are true.
Yeah, but
Great
doesn't-
cars,
it
but
doesn't-
let me
dependable,
give you
doesn't
the other
have
side.
it.
Let me
It
give you
doesn't
the other
have
side.
it.
Let me give you the other side. You guys have talked about Porsche and why everybody buys them and everything.
common
Everybody
thing
starts
here.
making a little bit of money. The first thing they buy is a Porsche because they can't fathom a Ferrari or a Lamborghini.
It feels attainable.
Yeah. It's attainable. And everybody has them. So you see that your buddy who's an attorney or a doctor who has got them, and that's where I want to go. That's what I want to have. The older generation like
That's
me,
where you get it from,
the
huh?
boomers that drive Porsches. There's one thing that's very important on a Porsche. They're comfortable. And you know how they're comfortable? Getting in and out. The sill is low.
Yeah.
Getting a Corvette, getting a Ferrari, the sills are high. The Porsches have floorboards, and the sills are low. So every old man can get in and out of it easily.
It's like getting out of a 3 Series.
literally.
That's why they're very popular. Very popular.
for sure.
And then the price point, which is great.
It used
But-
to be great.
Yeah, now they're
not great
they're
anymore.
ridiculous.
The price
now.
point is
We just made
Everything's
one of
expensive
our
now.
most recent reels was literally discussing like a base Carrera. You're aware that you can get a base Carrera up to 150.
Wow.
more than that.
More than that?
You realize when I was building it out for the example to hit 150, I hit 150 easy.
Quick.
And the one I posted was actually 155, and I stopped. I was like, I don't want to like spec this out to 170 because I said 150 in the video.
Right.
I could have easily spec that thing to 170.
Think
if I
about
wanted
it. That or a C8 Z06. Same price range.
A C8
It's but like there's
By far.
there's a mass amount of people that are brainwashed enough that would pick a S S or Carrera. Was it a Carrera or Carrera S we
They're-
spec?
they're-
A
they-
Carrera.
I spec'd a Carrera.
Think about it.
Not a Carrera.
A
S.
Carrera versus a Z06. I guarantee you, there's people that would pick a Carrera over the Z06.
We're talking GTSs are
Not
like
not unless
200.
you drive a CO6
How many people can
or
get
you
the
drive
driver's
a
Z06?
Ferrari, and then you jump into a Porsche and say, "Wow, this is normalcy. This is every day. I can use the car every day, but there's something lacking.
Everything like
Something that's lacking. You can call it maybe wanting to feel more, wanting to feel that you're alive when you drive this thing, because that's what you do when you drive this thing. The CO6 definitely peps you up. The Porsche, you drive it for a little bit, and it just comes mundane.
extremely
There's nothing
mundane.
there. Don't get me wrong, great cars, the new ones, great cars, comfortable cars. Every day you can drive them every day. This thing you can't really drive every day. I don't think so. It's not made for that.
No, are you
made for
kidding me?
fucking car.
Absolutely not. You can try that.
Yeah.
Trust me. When we first got it, I was like, let me, I'm fucking dead day of this bitch. But no.
down to just like some of the simple, like just some of the weird things about like you get a Ferrari. When you park the car, one, there's no park. You put it in neutral and you turn the car off.
That's
Parking
it.
brake.
When you turn the car off, how long before it like
Let you take
lets
the
you
damn
take
key
the key
out.
out? You turn the car off
3
and then it
seconds.
does some sequence
Yeah.
before you
Beep,
can
beep, beep,
before it
beep.
actually it sounds like Mario Kart.
Literally.
Before you can actually like
Take the key
and then
out.
you hear a little click and it's like, okay, it unlocked the key, I can take it out. But like it's not, you don't just flip the key
you
off
don't.
and pull it out and go. Like you turn the car off, wait there a second, like a card chip reader at the grocery store.
Yep.
It makes you feel the car.
And then you pull it out, and it's like it's the little. There's a bunch of those little inconveniences, I feel like, that kind of add up.
To the experience.
Why
Right.
are the inconveniences? Why is it bad?
It's just silly.
No, I like it. It makes me think about the car.
Yeah.
I look at all the gauges and everything because I'm a gauge guy.
Yeah.
I can't drive a car without gauges.
Right.
He's a no radio,
Yeah.
staring at the coolant temperature, like he has to be obsessive about it.
I know.
Imagine the
Ridiculous.
Roma with CarPlay popped up.
Oh
and
my
took
god,
away
he would
his
have had
tack.
an aneurysm. We were in Dallas. We were driving the Ferrari Roma. The Ferrari Roma has that center screen very similar to the Huracan, where that big ass screen's in the middle. Except when you plug in your phone for the CarPlay doesn't display on the main screen. It displays
On the dash.
on the dash.
Wow.
And on top of that, normally when that happens, because there's some cars that do have it like that, instead of putting it like in a section,
Yeah, usually they
they have it sectionalized.
the gauge is like spread out and
Yeah.
they put it in the middle. This
takes over your
just
thing.
takes over the whole dash, and then they put the speed down in the bottom left.
No RPMs. You lose your RPMs. You have no idea.
You know why?
Why?
Because they're catering to your generation. They
In
want
what sense?
The computer screen.
Do you want to know actually why?
Why? Let's
you want
hear.
the real reason
Give me the
why
real
they
reason.
put it there?
'Cause I know
instead
you
of
did the
middle
research
screen?
for this, so I know this.
We don't even need research. This is just how it goes. So Ferrari, the Roma is the only Ferrari with a center screen. Everything else, it's right here. So all the other cars, when you get CarPlay, they put it here because they have nowhere else to put it. And it's like, if you want CarPlay, you want to pull up your map, you lose your tack, which they also charge like $4,000 to give you CarPlay. It's crazy. But just to like flip the switch.
Yeah.
So the Roma is the only Ferrari with a middle screen.
Okay.
For them to put CarPlay on the screen instead of the dash, that would take extra programming, extra development, extra work
Money.
Assembly
in order
line,
to
production,
change it
Yeah.
just for the Roma.
Right.
Instead, it's the same dash unit that they use in the other cars, and then they just like added this other screen for the other conveniences.
For
They
more
didn't want to.
for
They
more
didn't
of a
want to
cruiser
re-engineer.
type thing.
They didn't
Of
want to
course,
re-engineer
I totally
this just
understand
for the
that.
Roma.
I totally understand that.
So they left it there.
But why, in the first place, do you have to have CarPlay right in the dash in the first?
So that
I don't
you
know
have-
why.
so you don't
For
draw
your
attention.
generation. I don't need no CarPlay. All I need is the sound, the shifting, or the paddles.
So you can get
I
lost
don't
and not
need
know
to
where the
be-
fuck you're at.
I don't need. I want to get lost. I want
don't
to get
need
lost.
CarPlay.
I wanna
Do you,
drive the
remember, do you
car
remember when we went up
before
to the Crest and he was trailing us and we got to our destination and we were like, where the
Hey,
hell did he go?
I enjoyed
He
the
was
car.
gone for 40 to
I was-
45 minute outing because he couldn't remember where the heck we were. He wasn't. He
No,
was.
it's not because I couldn't remember, because I was enjoying the car so much, going through the turns, that I passed it. And I just kept on going. And guess what? I enjoyed it on the way back. And I found you guys. So it's fine. I don't need no CarPlay. All I need is gauges and go. That's it. If I need CarPlay or whatever, I plug in the phone. That's it.
So that Ferrari tack is that the best?
That's the best.
It's
That's
beautiful,
the best.
huh?
Right in the middle.
Right in
it
the
shows
middle.
you mechanical. It's right there.
This
Pretty
one's
mechanical.
yellow, right?
Yeah, this was yellow. That's an option.
Yeah.
That's like a $1,200 option.
How's it come?
It comes. I think it's either black plated or red plated. I forgot.
Or no, yellow.
No. Yellow is an option. Yellow's a $1,200 option
I think
from Ferrari.
black, yellow, white, and red are options.
Yeah, it comes black. So even
Comes
just
black.
even literally
Yellow,
just to
white,
have your background of your
Tack.
tack is, if you have yellow, that's a $1,200 option from Ferrari. But now we're talking about a whole different thing.
What
But
else?
my whole thing, what I want to get into with you specifically, is some of the difference in like our generation's, what we consider like modifications to a car versus like what you consider modifications. Not even considering, because there's a whole realm of modifications, but more so what we get drawn to versus you. Like our big thing we talk about, and you have no idea. Everything that I've said to you guys, when I talked about him, I get so much criticism and critiquing from him. So
Remember, he's talking about modifications. Modifications is not plugging a plug. That's not a modification.
That's it. Yes, it is. So, like, for example, one of the things that most people will do, like the most common thing is in most car, exhaust and a tune. That's like in our generation, I feel like it's one of the more common things, maybe a wrap. For him, go ahead, because you're dying. Go
A
ahead.
tune, during my boomer generation, didn't exist. What you call a tune, this is from the computer age, that you can plug in your OBD2 or whatever, and it's a whole computer. In my age, a tune was a tune-up. You changed the spark plugs, you messed around with the carburetor, you did it all with your hands, and you enjoyed it. You made it happen. And when the car was well and done, you felt satisfaction because you did something on the car. You yourself, a hot rodder or a sports car driver, whatever. You guys plug in, boom, it's done. Tune what?
Quicker, faster, more efficient. Line them up, get smoked. That fast. Simple and easy.
But there's no real satisfaction.
Yes, there
The
is.
satisfaction's when you step on that pedal.
Yeah, and then
gets
you let it
going.
off, and all you hear is pop, 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 and then all of a sudden flames go out crazy. Then
you guys grew up with a computer screen in front of you. That's the difference. I didn't. I had to use pen and paper and do everything.
he can't even use the phone now. He struggles with the phone
Come
now.
on, no te pongas a comer tanta mierda.
Hand the man a
No soy
wrench.
tan come mierda ni tan estúpido.
That's fair.
Aquí tengo el teléfono. ¿Qué quieres saber?
Did you understand that?
He
or
didn't
no?
want me to. He didn't want me to hear that one.
Did you understand that one?
No.
He's basically just rambling on the fact that I said he can't use the phone. So he's saying in Spanish, "What do you want me to do? I'll get it right now." But that's just kind of to the degree how we are. But I'm a big more like into the R age modifications. When I talk to him and I try to run ideas by him, I'm like, "What if we wrapped the car this color? What if I did this? What if we did this?" And then he starts fucking getting on me and shit like that.
That's another thing. Rap. You know, I had to come into it. I had to like mentally rap. Let's change the color on the car. All right, let's paint it. No. Let's wrap it.
Get this thing
And
to
you pay
make
$5,000.
Yeah, exactly.
And
Let's
you
run
pay
it.
$5,000 for a wrap. I had to mentally adjust. Now I understand.
It's
Now
all more
I kinda
efficient,
like it.
though. Think about it. The way you tune a car, the way you
Yeah,
modify,
absolutely.
it's more efficient.
Yeah, but
Wrapping a car
only
is
because
more
of
efficient.
Technology, because you have a computer in all the cars.
Exactly. We have to lean in and play into our generation, what we're
Back
doing
in the
now.
days, there was no computer. Everything was mechanical. You have mechanical fuel injection, which is a big-
Inefficient.
Whatever, you can call it whatever, but it was
Bad for the
satisfying.
environment.
It was a hobby. You were a hot
Contributing
rodder.
to global
you modified
warming.
your car. You had a sense of satisfaction when you took it to the track and it did well. And if it flopped on you, you know you have to take it back home and fix what it was. And you took the time. Now you guys come in, you guys go to a shop, tune it. Here's $10,000, tune it.
10K.
That's true. That is true. There's a certain
you guys
degree.
don't do nothing.
The part, what it is, where I will give you your slight a bit of credit is when you do the work yourself, especially not even tuning yourself or
We've
doing
done
the
it.
mechanical work.
We've done
Correct.
it. And you felt it.
When you do the work yourself and you actually put your hands on the car and then something goes wrong, you're more inclined to know what to go wrong.
What's
Let's
going on?
fix it. When you do a tune, who knows what could have gone wrong?
Every time we've worked on a car, we've been side by side. At the end, everything worked out, everything did. You felt a certain sense of satisfaction.
To a certain degree.
Why do you think I become a mechanic every once in a while?
You have no idea.
Save money.
Yeah.
It feels good still.
He'll send me, he'll be at the house and then it's random like afternoon, it's 8 p.m. and I'll get a photo and he'll text me mechanic and it's him with his entire trim panel on the door taken apart and he's trying to work on the speaker and I'm like, what are you doing? Because it just doesn't make any sense.
It's great. You get into it.
Yeah, both these
You
speakers
get
are blown. I got to get them replaced.
You get into it. You
Got 'em
get
on
into
order.
it. And that, wow, if you get new speakers, you can do them.
Yeah.
Right?
They're riveted in, so I don't know how to do that.
You'll find a way, but you got to get into it.
Yeah.
You got to find a way.
I've got into
The
it.
problem where we
Now
run
they're
into
just-
is
now
there's
they're-
cars that he wants to fuck with that I'm like, we're not going to fuck
Him?
with that car.
He's scared.
Yes.
He's
it's
scared
not
of the
about being
car.
scared. It's just the car. Like, think about today's day and age. Like right now, I'll say it. And I can't remember if we discussed it in our last episode or not, but like we're looking to get, I'm going to get a new car. Okay.
Yeah.
So the cars that we're looking at are cars that I feel
I'm also
slight-
hopefully going to be getting a new car.
Yes, exactly.
4C's for sale.
I'm slightly more inclined to get a car that I would prefer not to do any of the work myself versus him. He's like, no, get the car and we'll do everything we possibly
Not
can
me.
ourselves.
Not me.
He wants to, like, for example, we're talking about potentially getting a McLaren. If I get a McLaren, I prefer not to do that work myself because that type of car is a lot more electrically complicated and you have to really know what you're doing. He wants to fucking take the quarters off and start fucking with the motor. I'm like, he doesn't know shit about McLaren.
With McLaren's I'll learn.
But all you
With
got to do is buy
McLaren's
the manual.
reputation,
the service manual.
you're
Yeah,
gonna
buy
have
the
to do
service
something.
manual. We're going to fucking, I'm going to
the
have my
rep-
720S down for 6
With
months.
the reputation that those car has, that's why I'm kind of weary about getting one. You're going to have to get into it because it might just leave you anywhere.
Very true. I'm going to keep a fucking
You're not going to have
computer
me
with
there
me.
to figure it
fuck
out
with the
for
bat-
you.
with the battery turn rolls.
On a McLaren.
Yeah.
To put an exhaust on the McLaren, you basically have to take the quarter panels off.
Well, even just you can't even access the engine.
No.
There's like a little panel that pops
Yes.
up to get you
and
to
then
the,
you have to
the
unscrew
oil.
the whole
Yep.
top of it.
The oil screw, that's it.
Yeah.
You can't actually like pop the hood and look at the McLaren engine.
So to put an exhaust
weird.
on it,
Yeah.
you have to dismantle half the car, which is what I told them.
Yeah. It's like the
He says,
Bugatti
okay.
problem.
I said, okay,
Literally.
let's get one. Let's do whatever we got to do, and we get into it. Well, we can't do that here. I go, why can't we do that here? We got a shop. You have a shop.
But I was telling you, I'm like, that's not
You
the
have
type
all the
of
tools.
That's not that's not the kind of car.
the lift.
just
You got the
because
tools.
I have a bend pack doesn't mean I'm like, all right, let's buy a 720.
You got
Let's
the dudes?
No, there's no reason to do some shit like that.
Get
No.
into it.
No, on this car, we can get into it. We have gotten into it, and this is manageable. Getting into a 720, you have to learn a lot more. Don't get me wrong. I'm gonna go through the procedures to learn a lot more. And
We're gonna find
understand
out.
those
It's
cars.
gonna be a
We're
fun
gonna go through
journey.
the show. We'll document the struggles and all the stuff like that. My point is we're at a certain age. We're doing the shit that you used to do. The way you used to do it is starting to be no more.
Tell me
No
this.
more.
You have
In other
a
words, plugging in a computer, that's it.
Well, no, not saying like that. I'm saying you have to have a lot more understanding. For you, you can.
The exhaust,
it's-
you have to do
the
it heads
information is not as widespread. It's not common. You know how to work on one thing, you can kind of figure it out. These things are in different worlds.
Every
now.
car is
every
different.
car is a completely different of its own universe and its own world, and the way it's engineered is completely different.
It's like a doctor versus a veterinarian.
Sure, if that's the reference you want to make it to.
A vet sees all kinds of animals with different kinds of organs in different places.
Yeah.
The doctor only sees you. We're all the same.
yeah, it works.
It's the
I
same
like
shit,
it.
and I'm not about to tear apart. I'm not about to get a 720 and tear the damn thing
But
apart.
I've been
gotta-
doing
it's like-
I've been doing the vet work all my life.
But that's a
now you're
Corvette.
doing it.
That's a Corvette.
No,
It's like bringing
now
a
you're
horse
doing
into
it.
a Sherman,
What do you
Oak
think you're doing
Sherman
here?
Oaks veterinarian.
Say it again.
It's like bringing a horse into a Sherman Oaks veterinarian.
Yeah, what the
Yeah.
hell is he gonna do? Or he might,
Cow.
or
You're
he
like,
might know.
My cow is sick.
If you get to Calabasas, the vets might know how to work, how
Calabasas
to
for
do
sure,
horses.
for
So
sure.
that's a whole
But
different
see,
thing.
you're contradicting yourself because every day that you work, you're looking at different cars,
Right.
and they're not all the same.
Correct.
So what's new?
Because we're working. You're talking about doing a lot more different things. You're talking about doing
A McLaren.
aftermarket parts modifications to cars that are already extremely electronically complicated.
Tell me
That's
this.
the part.
If you from an old school car guy, if you could deliver like a message to the younger generation car people, is there something you would tell them? I know that's
If
a
you're
broad
gonna have
question.
a hobby and you're gonna, mind you, the car hobby or hot rodding or whatever you want to call it, it's very expensive. If you're gonna get into it, get into it. Don't just, oh, there's a computer screen. It tells me to do this, tells me to do that. Let me plug in. It's done. No, make it part of your life. Make it part of you working on the car.
Learn how the car
Yeah.
ticks.
And make it self-satisfying. Don't just plug in, plug out, about every whole tune it, whatever. Oh, I drove the car for a little bit. Now I'm going to get another car. That was that quick? You tuned it?
I
And
disagree
you
with
did
this.
everything that was done to the car?
I
Disagree?
disagree. Yeah, it's because he gets emotionally
'Cause,
attached
yeah, we're
to
like,
every
let
single
me get
car.
the car,
I
let me
do.
drive it for 6 months.
Yeah,
to a year, let me
I
flip it,
try
go down
to
the next
in
one.
all realm of my life, I try to leave my
We're gonna
emotional
eventually sell
attachment at
this
the
car.
door.
I love this car. I love this car. I don't want to sell it. But to
That's
go
not
on
your
to the
choice.
next-
That's not your fucking choice whether or not you want to sell it or not. So it don't matter what you want.
But he's right. To go on to the next step, we have to do what we have to do.
Yeah.
Okay. Eventually, it'll happen to the CO6.
That one might stay.
Yeah.
I like that fucking
You love
car.
that car.
I do like that fucking
I'm
car.
gonna convince you to get rid of it at some point.
At some point. When the time. Okay, here's the thing.
Maybe
when
soon.
when the
You just
ZR1 comes
understand,
out,
like when
then we'll talk
you just
about it.
understand that car as much as you love it, and it's like it satisfies something deep inside you. What you could do if you let go of it.
Yeah. True.
That's
Very
true.
Do you understand?
I'll tell you
what
what it
you'd be
is.
capable of if you
'Cause-
if you just let go of that car.
I'll tell you what it is, and I finally have realized what makes me so obsessed with the C8 Z06. Partly what it, and honestly, I think it's the C8. When I was about 15, 16, is when I started to understand and more get to a point where I was comfortable understanding. Okay, if I want to be successful, I have to do a certain amount of things, make a certain amount of money to get those cars that I want. Okay. When they discussed re-engineering the Corvette, I was like, I want to get to a point where I can have my own and do my own thing. I said, this timing is going to work out perfectly. They're going to re-engineer the Corvette. I'm going to come into my own, and then I'm going to buy a Corvette that I was been injected in since I was this big by this old man here that's sitting here. On top of the fact they re-engineered it to my age, I go, it's going to go to the perfect combination.
The problem is you leapfrogged it.
Yes.
Yes.
Like you-
Because they've been talking about re-engineering the Corvette since the 1960s. Make it a mid-engine Corvette. You can see it. It's all in the magazines.
the prototypes.
You thought it was going to come out right when you were here.
Yeah.
When in reality, it came out. You
I
already passed
leapfrogged
it.
it, yeah.
You were
Yeah.
by the time it came out, you were
you were
you're
past it
you're
already.
past it.
You
But
already
still got
understood what it was.
and it's holding you back.
I
I don't
kinda-
know if you understand that it's holding you back.
I just
but
like
it's-
the car,
It's
man.
kind of holding you back.
I like
It's
the
a
car.
bitchin' car.
You love-
It's a
it
bitchin'
is-
car.
it's amazing.
Whoever
It's
drives,
an
whoever
amazing
drives
car.
that car will fall in love with it.
100%.
And it's a car guy. Now, the other
That's
thing
true.
is, if you compare it to other cars, let me tell you, that's a monster of a car. That has nothing lacking. If you drive this and if you drive the CO6, I think, because it's a newer car, you would definitely like the CO6.
Yeah.
This is more of a raw car. But the moniker.
So think about this: you get a newer 720 with the modern conveniences. When are you gonna look at the Z06 and go, "I want to drive you instead today"? You think that's gonna happen?
No, I'll be driving it.
Yeah, well, that's true. That's
I'll
true.
be driving.
Because he's as soon
He
as
won't
I
have to drive it anymore.
as soon as I get the McLaren,
Because if you have a McLaren and a G wagon instead of a McLaren and a Z06,
I'll tell you when.
Then it's like I'm driving the G wagon when I want to be comfortable, when I want to go and I want to doors up and everything like that.
Yeah.
You jump on the McLaren.
The reason why that car will forever be the greatest thing ever assembled is because the day I get into the McLaren, I open the door, I get into it, I go to turn it on, and it goes, and I don't get anything. Then I go to open the door, and it doesn't fucking open, and I'm sitting in the car, and I go, Z06 wouldn't do this to me.
That's right.
That's the whole reason. There's no
You better get a
car.
trickle charger, baby.
There's exactly besides a
Leave
Porsche.
for 3 days. Come
Literally.
back and it's dead.
This is why I still think when you compare, and I hate to bring Porsche back into this, but it ties into what my whole thing is. That Z06 is the perfect combination of a supercar, reliability, with personality. Everything the Porsche has that lacks the personality, that Z06 adds that last little bit of sound and personality that the Porsche doesn't, that a McLaren, obviously, McLaren 720S performance shits on the Z06.
But it suffers from the moniker.
The moniker, exactly.
You go somewhere with a Corvette and you go somewhere with a Ferrari. This is old. This is 2010.
This catches more eyes than the
You pull
Z06
up with this,
does.
and people look at it and say, "Oh wow, Ferrari."
¿Quién es este tipo
Yo,
que tiene un
I
Ferrari?
was on Pacific Coast Highway the other day. I was driving from where? Malibu.
Correct.
I was going home back
Yeah.
to Downey.
This is when we did the
rally.
The rally.
Yeah.
Remember them at the end? We swapped, and I said take the Vet, and I'll take the Z06.
So I drove this.
Ferrari.
Or Ferrari. Take the Ferrari, take the Z06.
I drove this all the way back home, down Pacific Coast Highway. Wow, great feeling, nice breathe, everything, nice sound, everything. And all of a sudden, I see Porsche. Everything that I saw was Porsches. And I would
Teslas.
get up to a light. And I would forget that I was driving the Ferrari. And people would like take their phones out, take a picture of it. There was a Porsche next to me. They didn't pay any attention to it. It was Ferrari.
So how does that make
The
you
moniker.
feel? People taking pictures, does that like does that
kind
get
of,
you
after a while,
excited?
you kind of forget about it. You're on the freeway and you see hands out of a window with a phone. You know, it's a 15-year-old kid, 14-year-old kid taking pictures of the Ferrari or taking a video, and you look at it and say, "What are they doing?" And you forget that you're driving the car.
How does it make him feel? He probably hates that shit. Are you kidding
Yeah,
me?
that's
he
what
doesn't
I-
want to. He doesn't
I
want to
don't
be
like- I don't
bothered.
like all the
He-
attention.
He
You
just
like
wants
it,
to
you
zip
don't
by.
like it?
No, I like the feeling.
Yeah.
The feeling, what I feel.
I like the attention.
The
I'll
attention
say
for
it.
me is part of the
I like it's part of the feeling. It's
part of the
Take the photo, let me rip it, do the whole thing. Tag me on Instagram, spotted in Malibu, like the
We
whole
are
nine.
what you would call douchebags.
Exactly. Versus the old man here just cares about the car in itself because he already lived through his douchebag era when he was in his 20s. So part of the reason
Very
is
true.
too, very much so. When you're in your 20s, the last thing you were thinking about was buying a
forget it.
Porsche. Not even the fact that they were dog shit during your age. So think about us now. People are like, "Oh, why would you get a Turbo S? Why won't you do this?" I don't want a car that does it, that gives what the Turbo S does. I want a car that gives me a little bit of all that plus the imagery, the personality, the appearance.
Even so, if you pull up in the Z06 and I pull up in a Gen 1 R8, a nice one.
Yeah, clean.
Yeah. Not like a beat down
Right,
08.
V8, yeah. V10 Gen 1.
Even though still a pretty car because they look generally the same. If we pull up in the Z06 and I pull up in a Gen 1 R8, the average person is probably going to look at the R8 and
Yes.
think that's cooler.
Yes.
Because,
They won't even look at the CO6 moniker.
No.
And
They'll
that's
look at
and-
it as a Corvette.
And that's Audi. That's not even like Audi is nothing crazy.
It's getting there.
But the
It's
R,
getting
but
there.
it's getting
it's,
there.
It's the start of supercars.
And think like, I'm gonna have that R8 for a fraction of the price. In
True.
reality, the R8 is a fraction of the price,
True.
but still gets more attention because of the moniker. At the end of the day, the Z06, there's how many C8s on the road now?
Correct.
That look mostly the same.
Similar. At least for the average person's eye,
average
can't tell the
person. Now,
difference.
if you get
I can
somebody,
spot it immediately.
But
Correct.
wait a
You
minute.
can
Wait,
spot
but
it
wait a minute. Wait a
immediately.
minute. When you go to a car meet, is that the average person that doesn't look at cars. You go to a car meet and there's 1,000 people there that know a little bit about cars.
A little bit. There's still a lot of people at the car
They
meet.
might look and notice the CO6 emblem on the side.
It depends
See
on the
that
car
it's
meet you go
wider.
to.
Sure.
It
But they still
cannot-
don't like. They still don't understand
Yes,
how expensive the car is
true, and what it does.
and what it does.
Now,
Compared to the R8, is like that's an R8.
correct.
Iron Man drove that.
Compare
car.
the
Very
R8.
true.
Compare the R8 to this.
Oh, now
both
now we're at a different step.
Yeah.
A different rung on the ladder.
Yep.
That's why it's all
Why?
level.
Relative. It's all relative.
Why?
Levels
All
are
levels.
relative.
Ferrari. Ferrari's been
Ferrari.
around forever. It's like this thing.
That silver horse, the silver prancing
Yes.
horse on the back of the car, when you're behind that car, is like
By the way, do you know why the horse is there?
no,
The story behind it?
no.
Just tell us. I know you. I know you're
Pilot. It
fucking
was an
dying to get it
Italian
out.
pilot that died, and the mother gave the moniker that was painted on the side of the plane to. They were friends with Enzo Ferrari, and as an honor to the pilot, World War One. We're talking about 100 years ago. She gave him the moniker. She gave him the icon of the prancing horse, and Enzo, out of respect, started using it.
Okay.
That was 19.
You have no
20
idea.
First of all, you know what's funny about a Ferrari is they put their badge everywhere.
everywhere.
Bro, look how many
got
times
it.
it's emblem on the damn car.
We've got a shield on both sides. We've got the whatever this.
We sold you the car.
version of the
This is
logos
free
on the front.
advertising.
We got that on
Literally.
the back. We got two logos on the front, a logo on both sides, two logos on the back.
Inside of the car. Inside of the car.
You
right
have
on
a
the
Ferrari. You have a horse on the
They're-
tack.
they're-
You have a Ferrari on the
they're
steering
doubled
wheel.
up. They
You have a
put the
Ferrari on the
logo
headrest.
everywhere. What's
Hey,
crazy
you-
is it looks good. Like most of the time, you're debadging cars because the badge like
Very
true.
takes
Yeah,
away
no.
from the car.
Very true.
The Ferrari badges add to the car. Side shields are an
Yeah.
expensive option.
Yeah, they
people
are.
pay to get those side shields because it's iconic.
It's the ultimate moniker.
So we're probably getting ready to wrap this up. There's one more topic I wanted to cover before we call it quits, call it a day.
Let's dive into it, baby.
You wanted to school me on the history of Alfa Romeo because
we talked about it lately.
I
That's-
drive this 4C. I've had it now for 3 years.
It's a fun car.
It's for sale. It's a very fun car.
Yep, for sale.
For sale. You can purchase it, but probably not. By the time you're listening to this, hopefully it's gone.
Hopefully it's gone. Yeah.
But I don't actually know much about the history.
Okay.
And you said that
This is an encyclopedia of the most useless and random knowledge in the world. You're sitting right now. It's sitting a thesaurus and an
It
encyclopedia.
satisfies me to know all this stuff.
I know.
Yeah.
Because I've been around for a while, a lot longer
Yep.
than you.
Since like you've been around since like
you said it's
1872,
tied.
so I'm
you
very
said
aware.
it's tied to Ferrari, and Lamborghini's tied to Ferrari.
Ferrari came out of Alfa.
Okay.
Enzo Ferrari was a race car driver for Alfa. 50 years.
Yeah, deep racing history.
50 years
With Alfa.
before Ferrari started selling its first car.
All right.
Okay, that's the history. It's like you look at Alfa and it's like you look at the Alfa and you look at the Ferrari and you say, well, what do you want to be when you grow up? What do you want to be when you grow up? The Alfa always wanted to be a Ferrari, but it really is not that way. The Alfa started way before Ferrari. Enzo came out of Ferrari.
So you mean to tell me without Alfa Romeo as a
There wouldn't
brand
be Ferrari.
or Lamborghini?
Because
Well, I don't know about Lamborghini, but
Lamborghini came out of Ferrari.
Was a tractor builder.
It came out of Ferrari though.
Not came out of Ferrari.
Yes.
He got pissed off of Ferrari because there was something wrong with the clutch something wrong
And
with the
Ferrari, he fucking said, "What do you know? You make fucking tractors. I don't give a shit about
he
you."
went to Ferrari and told, hey, can you do this? Can you do that?
And his
Ferrari
ego
looked at him,
said,
"Who the
I'll
hell
make
are
a
you?
fucking-
I'll make a fucking car.
You're a hillbilly that makes tractors. What are you going to tell me about cars? And he walked away from him. And the guy got pissed off. And I said, you know what? I got enough money. I'm going to build a car. And I'm going to make it better than you.
So without Alfa Romeo, you wouldn't have Ferrari or Lamborghini.
True. Very, very true. We're
Think about
talking
that.
about early 1900s.
Yeah.
And let me tell you, Alphas are great cars. Great cars. That's a fun little car to drive.
It's a fun little car. It's been extremely reliable.
I don't know about all Alphas. That's a
Yeah,
nice car.
the
That's a
Alphas,
nice car.
a lot of the modern Alphas.
If you're driving a Giulia, or what is it called? Is it Giulia? No, don't even.
A
talk
lot
to
of the modern, there's been a lot of lemon Giulias, a lot of lemon Stelvios. A lot of people ask me about the reliability of the Alpha because the reputation's bad. This car has had no issues. It's like, well, it's a very simple engine, a very lightweight car. It's very simple. There's not a whole lot going on.
You can beat it.
Yeah,
me. You daily the damn thing.
I do.
That attests it right there. You
Which is
got
why
3
it's
years
time
and
to
you
go,
daily it.
because 3 years a day.
You can't daily this. I mean, you could do a week.
You know I
then
could.
park.
You could. You could. You 100%.
I don't
could.
want to, though.
No, you could.
You don't want
could.
to.
I don't want
But
to.
you know what? Even the CO6, you can daily that thing.
Easy.
Every day. No problem whatsoever. It's reliable. It starts right on. But if you have other cars, why would you drive the CO6 and beat the hell out of it?
Yeah.
You don't want to do that.
I could not daily.
These
some
are
shit like that.
special cars, and you want to drive it on special occasions, like on weekends.
I'm going to drive them all the time.
Yeah, so do I.
I'm going to drive
I'm
the
not gonna
car.
lie to you, so do I. The problem is if I end up getting a McLaren, I'm really gonna want to drive that shit every day, and that's the last car that you should drive every day. That car should be like a once.
Or maybe you should.
Or
That's
maybe
why
you
I'm going to
should.
get a
Maybe
bulletproof
things go wrong when you don't drive
V10 R8.
Think so?
If you don't drive them,
If you don't drive them,
dry up.
Yeah, if you don't drive them, there's
The
issues.
weather strips will dry up.
So I'm gonna need to drive the McLaren.
You're going to need to drive it.
Because don't get me wrong, I'll drive it if it's at the point where
If
I'm
you
like,
get a
I need to drive.
McLaren that's a 2020 and it's only got 2,000 miles on it,
Yeah, think we know.
beware,
Yep.
because that car's 4 years old now and hasn't been driven. So where was it?
What was it doing?
Versus you get a 2020 with 14,000 miles.
15,000.
You know it's been driven. You know it's been around. You know somebody put the foot to it, and it did what it did. And hopefully they worked out all the bugs, because they drove it for 14,000 miles.
Hopefully,
Hopefully.
we'll find out pretty soon though. I'm pretty confident we'll find
One more
out.
question for him.
Hit him.
You've owned every Corvette generation. What's the best one?
By far the CO6.
This one? C8
Generation.
Z06?
Generation.
C8.
Generation.
C8.
Generation. Really?
C8. The tightness, the way it's engineered, the mid-engine, as much as I hate to say it, it's the right thing to do to that car.
I know his second answer. I know his real answer.
Okay. Second answer. If you weren't picking the
This is the
C8,
real answer. This
What's
is
the
real
best
answer.
generation?
The real answer.
17 Z06.
17 Z06. More than the 13 ZR1?
Yes.
More than a.
You know what? Can we get one more story here?
Yeah, 100%.
You had the ZR1, and then I've kind of heard the story of you selling that car.
Oh, I went to Smogit,
Yeah.
and some Mexican rancher guy with a cowboy hat and cowboy boots
ranchero.
came up to me
Cartel type.
and said to me in Spanish,
Some people know the
Señor.
type.
I was sitting in the bench waiting for my car to get smogged. I'm looking at the phone, and this guy walks up to me, and he tells me in Spanish, Señor, ¿usted es el dueño del carro? I go, yeah, I own the car. Digo, ese es el carro de mis sueños.
We'll put some
This
translation
is
there.
good.
right?
And I knew
Car of
the
my
guy.
dreams.
Yeah,
I,
car of your
I
dreams.
looked at the guy. He was kind of dressed like a cowboy.
Yeah.
I said, let me pay a little bit of attention. This guy could be cartel or something.
Yeah.
So
Here in
He
LA.
has the money.
Here in
Maybe he
LA.
has the
People got to
money.
understand we're here in LA.
So he went around the car a couple of times, came back to me, and he told me, you don't want to sell it? I said, no, I haven't really thought about selling it. But if you want to buy it, I threw a random figure out there, high figure. Mm-hmm. The guy looked at the car, went around the car, went around the other side, and went away. Comes back, he tells me, write my phone. And I know I can put it on my phone. I put his phone in out of courtesy because I didn't think he was going to do anything. I'll see you in the afternoon. This is all in Spanish. Te veo en la tarde. Wow, this guy seems adamant about this. I finished my smog. I left. The guy called me about an hour and a half later. Okay, he had my phone. I had his phone. Mm-hmm. Says, where do we see each other? What? You're going to bring me that kind of money in cash? Because we talked about it. I gave him a figure and I told him cash. You're going to bring me that much money in cash? It was like, and you know, he looked a little, where am I getting myself into? I'm going to go meet him somewhere. They can show me the cash, take the car, whatever. I'm not going to do that. And I kind of hesitated for a little bit. He called me again. I go, oh, shit, I can't back out. I gave him my word. I said, okay, you know what? I'll see you at the house. Oh, my God. I went home. I got my AR-15. I put it behind the door. I got my 9mm. I wore my coat. And I started waiting. And my wife was saying, well, what are you worried about? What are you worried about? This is what happened. And the guy looked like this and like that. And, you know, I've seen the type. And then all of a sudden, 6 o'clock, 6:15 in the afternoon, this black Suburban pulls up in front of the house.
Murdered.
I go,
Murdered out Suburban.
oh, shit. I said, okay, I got to go out.
Like that.
I went out.
That type of vibe.
I went out into the front yard. I approached the car because I wanted to see what was going on. All of a sudden, I see the two front windows roll down. And I go in, I look inside. The wife and 3 kids. The wife and 3 kids. I said, nobody's gonna bring their wife.
Yeah,
Forget it. I said,
sigh
get
of
out.
relief.
Come on. I said, come on, get out. Get out of the car. Come on, let's go in the house. Let's do this deal. He made the deal.
Gave you a bag of cash.
That car is somewhere
I didn't
deep
know
in
what to
Sinaloa
do
right
with the
now.
cash.
Deep in Sinaloa.
I had to get a receipt because the next day, first of all, I didn't want to keep the cash at home. So I went to my neighbor, who's also Cuban, four doors down, Jose. So I went to Jose and I told him, hey, hold this cash for me. I didn't want to have it at the house.
Trust.
Yeah.
Trust.
Of course, he's a friend, good friend of mine.
Cubans.
And the next day I got up, 10:30 in the morning, 11 o'clock. I got the cash, I went to the bank. When I went to the bank, the first thing they asked me is, where did you get the cash? I had to get out of the bank, call the guy a second time, give me the bill of sale again, and explain it all on the bill of sale. Sort of like a small contract.
Yeah.
Take it back to the bank, talk to the banker, not the teller, give it to the bank. This is where I got the car. This is what I sold. This is what I did. And I deposited the money in the bank.
Pretty hell of a story, huh?
Yeah, that is the
A
story.
big ordeal.
People don't understand the type of scale of things that go on here in LA.
Right. Just imagine being like smogging your car. Someone rolls up and is like, you sell it. You're like, it's not really for sale. And then just throwing out a number and then being like, all right, I'll take it.
Tell me,
You're dropping
And
cash
they-
off
and
at the
they
house.
bring you-
that
and
night.
they bring you the cash. What do you do with this?
Yeah.
How do you justify this? How do you make this legal? And I thought about it, but I didn't get it until I went to the bank and they asked me, where did you get the money? Forget it. I left right away. I talked to the banker. The banker told me, give me a receipt, give me something,
Yeah.
so that at least we can notify it and document it. That was the story with the CR1.
It's a good story.
Good story to end on, I
Anything
think.
else from you?
I think we're good.
Anything else from you?
We're good.
Thank you for coming on.
Yep.
This
All
has
right.
been
Well,
this has been
hopefully
fun.
we'll do it again.
We'll see
Now
if
you
the people like
understand.
you.
Yeah, now you understand why Joe is the way he is. You'll see the old man featured on the channel again. This is
We,
not the end.
Hopefully.
depending how things go, we'll see if he's going to be a reoccurring character in our journey down that where we're headed.
Yeah, once he blows up on Instagram, we'll see how
we'll
he
see.
feels.
We'll see how it goes. But again, now you guys get a little bit of a better taste of me and everything that I am about. You can see exactly where I come from and the reason that I'm the way that I am. You're looking at the reason right now. So
Thank you for
Good.
tuning
Good.
in. We're
there it
out.
is.